Hey everybody, thanks for hopping on. We're going to do a quick session on billing within the BBP application today. Just to kind of first start out, billing is going to happen for most companies before they pack the routes. Some companies though, if you're returning deposits, for example, you may bill after delivery. Either one's possible in the system. First place you're going to start is down under the billing menu here. And if you expand it, you can go to electronic billing. And you'll see that you're presented with a search criteria form. There's really only a couple of fields you have to worry about here typically. So for example, if you were packing your Friday routes today on Thursday, let's say, you could come under routes here and say, well, I only want to bill my Friday routes because we're packing those right now. And then you'd want to watch this next field, charge up to date specified. Tomorrow's the 21st, so we'd go ahead and choose the 21st. And then really all you have to do is keep send receipts and decline notices checkboxed if you want to have those automatically go out. And we just click search. And it comes back with a list of people who owe us money and match that criteria and the total amount that it wants to charge them. And you can click this drop down to kind of view who those people are and the balance it wants to charge. And then if I clicked bill selected, it would instantly bill those people and give us feedback up here on the right as far as how many processed, how many declined, and what that batch total was. So that's kind of your typical scenario, is choosing certain routes that you wanted to bill. Let's say you don't fall within the typical scenario. You just want to charge everybody within the system that owes you money every Friday. That just means that every Friday you're going to come into the system. You're going to leave all this criteria default except for the charge up to date specified. Typically, that's already going to be set to the day you've come to the page. So it would already be set at April 20th, for example. So oftentimes you can even leave that default. And then if you just come down here and click search, this would come back with all users throughout all routes in the system that still owed you money for the deliveries up through the 20th. And you could bill that entire batch all at once. So that's another method that I've seen some people use to do billing. You might have scenarios pop up where you just need to bill one particular person. So you can always come up here to the customer search, for example, and you could type in Hannah, and it's going to come up with all the Hannahs in the system. You could choose which one that was, then come down here and do all this other criteria, click search, and it would only come back with that one person that you wanted to bill. Now, another scenario I've seen happen is a customer might call you and say, hey, just charge my credit card $2,000 and that'll give me credit in the system. And I just want to eat through that credit. So we've got this charge specific amount tab up here where you could look up, again, a specific customer. And I could grab that user and say, I want to charge them $2,000 and I want to send a receipt. And then we could click bill selected. And that would charge just that specific person $2,000. They'd have that credit on their account. They wouldn't show up in billing again until they had eaten through that $2,000 credit. Now, once you've done billing and you're looking at your batch, the transactions that happen in that batch, you can actually click into the batch and see the decline messages if there is anything verbose from the gateway, and then the approved. You can also filter this. So I could say I want to see only declines between X and X date. Up to you what you want to do with the people that have declined. So for example, if I didn't want to deliver to this guy, I could actually click into his profile and you've got a couple of choices. If he's got an order for this week, which he typically would if you had charged him, you could just click clear order and just clear his order for the current week. That would keep all of his upcoming orders intact and still in play, assuming he came back and put in a new credit card on file. You could also suspend this user. So we could suspend them where it would remove all their future orders, and it would be up to you to unsuspend them once they had contacted you and said, hey, we've updated our credit card information. We'd like to have our service back in order. So keep in mind when you do billing, each customer, if you've left the decline checkbox checked, is going to get a note that you control under autoresponders that talks about that their credit card has been declined. So ideally, you've got instructions in that autoresponder telling them to go to the website, click into my account, personal information, update their credit card information, etc. So one of the methodologies I see a lot of companies employ is they actually do electronic billing a few different times. So they'll run credit cards for those routes they're packing, then they'll give it an hour or two window, and they'll run that same exact criteria again, because it's only going to pick up people that still owe you money. And that way they catch people that have gone to the website, updated their credit card info, and still want to get delivery this week. They can squeeze in a few more deliveries that way. So you can actually run this electronic billing as many times in a row as you'd like to. It's impossible to double bill somebody, because if they've paid already, they won't have a balance. So you might want to run that a couple of different times before you do the final pack, just to catch any kind of stragglers. Now, a couple of important things to note about billing. Let's say that you wanted to email out an invoice just for this week's delivery to everybody that you were delivering to. You can actually come down to the search orders function. So down here under order history, and I could, for example, just click this week's orders, and this would be all routes, everything this week. I can checkbox all here at the top, and then at the bottom, I could say email invoices for selected orders. So that would email out just a paper invoice to each of these customers for just that particular delivery. And you can see what that would look like just by clicking into this and clicking print invoice. But it's going to list out all the items that they ordered and just be an invoice for just that delivery. So that's another way, just so you know, to blast out delivery invoices via email. You can also print those, as you saw. Another thing I want to cover under billing here, excuse me, is paper email billing. So if you do wholesale or commercial type delivery, this is often a good way to send out more of a statement that might span several deliveries. So for example, we could choose monthly billing here or weekly. So if we chose monthly billing, and you've got a period of April 2020, for example, that would include maybe 4 different deliveries. So the first week of April, the second week of April, third and fourth. And so this would be more for sending out a commercial or a wholesale statement. You'll see that you could choose just a certain type, like we could say, oh, only credit card, only cash, only check, different payment types that they've selected. We could do this just for certain routes. You can set your due date that will show up when you generate these. You can choose active only customers. And then you can also, you'll see, choose up here print only or print and email. If you just want to browse these and see what they look like on screen, I recommend choosing print only. That means no emails will go out. When you're happy with them and you're ready to send them out, then you can click print and email. That will email out invoices to anybody that has an email on record, and it would print the rest. You can always just hit cancel when it comes up with that print prompt. So that's the way you would send out a statement. Other things to do with billing, keep in mind, oftentimes you'll want to return any deposits before you do billing. So that can either happen through the driver app or through the back end here, where you're crediting people's accounts for bottles they've returned, ice packs, coolers, anything like that. And that's all found under billing. So you could do mass deposit returns and charges here. This would allow you to pull up a specific route in route order, so the order that the driver made the stops, and return those. So for example, the ice pack deposit here, we could put in 2 returns, 5 returns, 6 returns, etc. on down the line. And then once you click apply, that would credit everybody's account. So deposits are something to think about. Are we returning those before billing? Are we returning those after billing, etc. Last thing I'll show you here on billing is you can mass update payments. If you've got a situation where you need to import a whole set of credits, or you've gotten a stack of paper checks that you would rather import versus looking up each customer one by one, this is where you can do that. You'll see there's an import payments tab, and it gives you the different fields that you would want to have in that spreadsheet. And so you'd be able to upload these and they will credit everybody's account. I think that's it for the moment on billing, but as usual, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to support and we'll see if we can get you some answers. Thanks for joining today.